Hey guys, very sorry about not uploading for a while. I've just been busy. Well, here is the first part of What If Naruto Was Deathstroke? Naruto POV. How did I end up like this? What happened to my lifelong goal of being Konoha's Hokage? Was it just a whim? A quixotic dream? Whatever it was, it vanished in the blink of an eye ever since I ran away from my village. I used to be the village hero, a role model for kids and most importantly, a loyal warrior. But now I kill people for money. More accurately, I'm a mercenary who works for rich bastards whom don't want to soil their hands with blood. Yes, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, but better known as Deathstroke the Terminator. I'm the third deadliest assassin in the whole wide world, or maybe fourth, the top three probably being Deadshot, Deadpool, and the original Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. I was accused of murder by my own sensei after my best friend, Sasuke, killed my fiancée, Sakura, during a battle a few years back. We got engaged when we were 22 years old. I'm actually 25 years old now. My whole world crumbled before my eyes as I saw Sakura's lifeless body being tossed aside by that deranged killer. Her hollow emerald orbs screamed agony as she gave me a withering look right before she died. I was completely apoplectic with rage and I wanted to just scream and rip everything to pieces, but instead of offering me comfort, my sensei, Kakashi, fabricated some slanderous story about me conspiring with Sasuke to murder my own fiancé. Flashback. Sasuke, you know that I have my orders to stop you, even if it means killing you, a bloodied Sakura panted as she clutched her broken rib. Kakashi barely had any energy left in him after using the Mangekyo Sharingan against Sasuke. Keep dreaming that you'll ever be able to stop me now, Sasuke sneered as he thrust his blade forward, but Sakura evaded it and plunged her kunai into his side, but it disappeared into a cloud of smoke, and before she knew it, cold hard steel pressed against her throat while another hand gripped her arm. It's not like you to get tricked by a shadow clone, Sakura, Sasuke chided as he pressed the blade harder on her throat. Sakura attempted to force her way out of his grip, but she knew that he would kill her in a heartbeat. Sasuke, stop it. You don't have to do it. Kakashi roared from the side, but Sasuke didn't even bat an eyelid and just breathed down the pink-haired ninja's neck. You're wrong, Kakashi. I need to prove a point to you irritating Konoha dirtbags, so I suggest that you keep your quiet. Sasuke, you know that I'm still your friend, and the Sasuke I knew would never hurt a friend. Sakura whispered to him, but his grip around her arm tightened and he grit his teeth. I am not your friend anymore. I am not the person you admired years ago, and I definitely won't hesitate in killing you right now, Sasuke retorted. Sasuke. Let Sakura go now. Naruto bellowed from the other end of the stream. In a flash, Naruto was charging towards the raven-haired boy, brandishing a sharp kunai. Naruto, you have to stop Sasuke now before he kills her, Kakashi said as Naruto presses his kunai on Sasuke's throat. Sasuke was genuinely shocked. Naruto's speed and agility really had increased since the last time they had fought. I'm warning you. Your fight is with me and not her, so release her. Stop being such a coward. We're here to bring you back home, Naruto said. Go on, Naruto, kill him now. He isn't messing around anymore, Kakashi thought to himself as he could sense the fear behind Sakura's calm demeanor. Would you kill me now, if you had to? Sasuke calmly asked, and Naruto looked stunned at him. No. I'm not going to kill you after I spent countless years chasing you and convincing you to come back to the village. You're still my best friend, Naruto said sadly as his press of his kunai on Sasuke's throat decreased. You're still the same fool I despise, Naruto, Sasuke muttered as he released Sakura from his grasp and in one quick motion stabbed her heart with his blade. Naruto and Kakashi were rooted to the spot as they were both catatonically stood there as Sasuke removed his blade from her and let her lifeless corpse drop to the ground. You'll never be able to defeat me until you channel all your hatred into your powers and let them feed upon the darkness that swallows you. Naruto, the next time we meet, will be your last, Sasuke said coldly before disappearing into a cloud of smoke. Kakashi clenched his fists and sent Naruto crashing into a tree with a powerful punch to his jaw. Naruto spat out a wad of blood and looked incredulous at his sensei. What the hell was that for? Naruto roared as Kakashi knelt over Sakura's lifeless body and cradled her in his arms. For being weak. How could you let him kill her? Why the hell didn't you stick the bloody kunai into his throat? You know why? Because you still have this fucking whimsical idea of coaxing him to come back to the village. Have you learned nothing at all? Emotions only get in the way. I lost Obito due to my emotions last time, and I hope you're happy that you lost your fiancé, Kakashi said coldly as he carried Sakura's corpse out of the stream. Naruto's hands started shaking as tears began streaming down his face. He howled in agony as he began weeping uncontrollably and cuddled Sakura. I'm so sorry that I let my emotions cloud my judgment. I let Sasuke kill you and I failed to protect you. We were supposed to get married next month, Naruto whispered to her. Sakura. Sakura. I'm so sorry I let this happen to you. I didn't even get to tell you how much I love you for the last time, Naruto sobbed as Kakashi couldn't help but feel utter resentment towards the blonde ninja. Kakashi was still angry at Naruto for beating him and winning Sakura's affection, and he nearly went mad with rage after the announcement of their engagement. He began giving Naruto the cold shoulder and even began to ignore him, much to Naruto's bewilderment. I'm going to make sure that you suffer when we get back to the village, Naruto. Forgive me Minato-sensei for being so selfish, but it was Naruto's fault at the end of the day, he muttered as he knocked Naruto out with his Sharingan. Back at the village, Kakashi explained to Tsunade that Naruto refused to kill Sasuke, which led to Sakura's demise, and that Naruto did not even attempt to save his comrade, placing his personal goal ahead of the mission. Word soon got round the village and everyone began ostracizing Naruto before Umbu apprehended him and brought him to Tsunade's office for his punishment. Naruto, I am greatly disappointed in you after hearing the mission report from Kakashi. You let my apprentice die at the hands of that Uchiha psychopath, and what pisses me off even more is the fact that you valued your obsolete friendship higher than your own fiancé. Really, brat, I am really disappointed in you. However, your actions bear heavy penalties and I hereby strip you of all your ranks and you are banned from any B-class and above ninja missions. Furthermore, you are going to be re-educated by Ibiki to banish this obsession with bringing back Sasuke, Tsunade told him. As Naruto was being escorted by two Umbu ninjas to Ibiki, Naruto knew deep down that his life in the village was over and that many villagers were after his head. He broke free from them and began fleeing, but they called for backup and soon, he was surrounded by them. These ninjas were trained to kill their targets, so Naruto had no other option than to kill them after they were close to decapitating him several times. The other Umbu will probably come looking for their comrades after they realize that they have been missing for a few hours. I better leave the village now, Naruto thought to himself as he stole one last glance of Konoha before fleeing into the forest. There was soon a bounty on his head and other nations were alerted by Tsunade to be vigilante and try their best in apprehending him. Naruto had to resort to living in a cave in a secluded part of the forest where hardly anybody was to be found. He began living his life as a hermit and repented for his failure in protecting his fiancée. Soon, he was consumed with hatred for himself, Sasuke and the whole of Konoha. He began to despise his years as a ninja and all the memories that came with it. The once happy-go-lucky, cheerful, cheeky and idiotic ninja was replaced with a sullen, cold, uncaring, and vengeful young man. He had given up on life and began wasting his days away by sleeping and staring mindlessly at the scenery. His ambitions were in tatters, his hopes were brutally crushed, and he was a fugitive. Maybe I should just end my miserable existence on Earth now. I have nothing to live for anymore. Every ninja wants my head on a silver platter, my friends have turned against me and my fiancé is dead. So much for being Hokage, he muttered to himself as he traced the sharp tip of the kunai with his finger. Oh well, it's been fun. I'll see you soon, Sakura. Naruto thought to himself as he prepared to stab himself in the heart until a voice interrupted him. There were many times that I contemplated suicide, but I didn't give in. I decided that why should I pay for a mistake that wasn't entirely at fault for? I should be killing those bastards who took away everything from me. After all, an eye for an eye, a voice called out behind Naruto. Naruto spun around to see a decrepit old man with long gray hair tied into a ponytail and a black eye patch covering his right eye. He hobbled to Naruto and looked amused at the blonde ninja who drew his kunai. Who the hell are you and how did you find me? Were you sent here by a village to kill me, old geezer? If so, let me warn you that you're going to regret it, Naruto hissed, but the old man just snorted and drew his Glock at him. I have no idea what the fuck you're saying, boy, but don't think that you can threaten me. I promise you that I will blow your brains out before you even take another breath, the old man said coldly, and Naruto dropped his kunai while the old man placed his Glock back in his holster. I'm Slade Wilson, also known as Deathstroke the Terminator. I don't think that you have heard of me though, Slade shrugged as he shook Naruto's hand. Naruto shook his head and eyed the Caucasian man carefully. He was a medium-sized buffed man, despite his age, and his left eye had no warmth or kindness in them. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I used to be a ninja from Konoha until I became a fugitive, he muttered, and Slade looked amused at him before convincing him to pour out his entire story. You know, you somewhat remind me of myself back in my younger days. I lost my family due to some hitmen because my house got burned down and my son was kidnapped. I had lied to my wife about being a safari hunter when I was really a mercenary. When I came clean to her, she shot me in my right eye and I was shocked. I knew that my family hated me, and so, I left afterwards, thinking that it was best to stay out of my wife and son's lives so that I didn't need to make them suffer even more than they already did. Then, I completely became Deathstroke and thrived on killing people, Slade told Naruto, who quietly hung his head. But you're not even from my world. Where exactly did you come from? Slade snorted, told him how Zatanna had transported him hundreds of years back to feudal Japan just as he was about to kill Batman and her in a fight in Gotham City. Since I had traveled back hundreds of years, the time loop must have caused me to age rapidly. I can't believe that I'm 80 years old now. I landed here and killed a couple of guys who wanted to rob me. Ever since then, I've been keeping a low profile here, Slade sighed and silently cursed Zatanna. I'm sorry to hear that, Slade, but I don't think I can help you. If your story was supposed to cheer me up, well, it just exacerbated the problem. Now, I feel as if this whole world is nothing but a place for assholes, and therefore, I want no part of it, Naruto decided. You're a really bad liar. I can see that you're itching to exact revenge on those who destroyed your life, and let me tell you something, you're not going to last a day with those ninjas lurking around the borders of this forest. I think you have potential, kid. Slade chuckled before lighting his cigarette. Potential? For what? To take over my job as the new Deathstroke. I'm too fucking old to kick some ass and the joints in my fingers crack when I pull the triggers of my pistols. Which other candidate would be suitable enough than a guy who lost his family and is lusting for blood? On top of that, a guy who kills people on a daily basis. Well, Naruto, it's your choice. I can train you and help you quench your thirst for revenge, Slade growled. Naruto hesitated for a while before memories of Sakura began flooding his mind. Fine, I'm in. But I'm going to use my powers only on the people who wronged me, Naruto attested to Slade, who sneered at him. Keep telling yourself that, kid. But mark my words, once you've gained the power and abilities that you could only dream of, killing people for sport or money becomes addictive, Slade said before bringing him to his hideout. Nice place you got here, Naruto said sarcastically, but Slade just shrugged and knocked him out with a punch to the cheek. Sorry kid, but I need you to stay quiet while I inject this soldier serum into you. This serum is made from by blood and other chemicals that are designed to stimulate the adrenal gland, which I stole from some village. Hopefully, you don't die in the coma, Slade said as he injected the serum into the blonde man's limp body. Flashback end. Well, that's how it was. Slade trained me in every fighting technique I knew, and I had successfully inherited his godly abilities such as accelerated health regeneration, super strength, and maximum brain efficiency. He molded me into an excellent marksman and a ruthless killer who killed professionally and for good reason. Slade passed away last year after he had a stroke, and I laid him to rest at the place where we first met. I can't thank him enough for crafting a new life for me and giving me the chance to kill the people I despise. Honestly, I'm enjoying my life right now. I'm rolling in cash and I have no real worries of being killed by anyone, not even Sasuke. He is the one that should be scared of me, because sooner or later, we will cross paths again. And when we do, it's curtains for him. Naruto POV end. The blonde mercenary sipped a cup of tea in his wooden cottage in the forest as he ironed his orange dark blue Deathstroke costume while humming a jolly tune. Naruto's eyebrows furrowed as he picked up a letter dropped at the doorstep of his cottage. It was addressed to him. As his eyes scanned through the contents of the letter, he broke out into a smirk and crumpled the paper. $10 million for such a satisfying task this time. I've been waiting for this request for a long time. Naruto laughed as he began to prepare for his long-awaited return to Konoha, not as Naruto Uzumaki or the Jinchuriki, but as Deathstroke the Terminator. When was the last time we did an escort mission, huh? We always have to clean up the trash. Tenten laughed as Team Guy approached the hidden sand village, which signified the success of their escort mission. I have to admit that it was a rather easy one and surprised that it was classified as an A-rank mission, Niji said calmly as he followed closely behind their client. Fear not, my fellow friends, for I'm sure that our burning desire to complete a more challenging task will prove useful to us in our upcoming battles. Lee pumped his fist in the air while his other two teammates just rolled their eyes. Sure thing. Just as long as you don't use it all up on this mission, Niji sniffed as Lee gave him the thumbs up and flashed him his signature smile brimming with confidence and joy. Alright team, we will be spending the night here and be leaving for home at the crack of dawn, so I expect you three to get a good night's rest and recuperate while I accompany our client to the Kazekige's office. Guy grinned and ushered them to their respective quarters. You have a very disciplined team there, Sensei. His client smiled politely and Guy puffed up in pride as he basked in the single compliment he received. Thank you, sir, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. My team is the most fearless, youthful, energetic, and courageous team you will ever meet. The training regime that I put them through. Ahem. Kankuro smirked as he interrupted Guy's passionate diatribe regarding his team. Gaara's waiting for the both of you in his office. He requests to see the both of you immediately. Tamari chimed in as she led them into the Kazekage building. As the sun set, the few thin strips of clouds on the horizon turned shimmering gold and the streets began to clear as the village inhabitants were busy preparing dinner for their family or heading home from work. Niji didn't join the rest of the team for an early dinner as he was moderately full from consuming a plateful of sweet buns during tea. The lingering light was obliterated by the rapidly falling night. The once salmon and purple sky transformed into a vast expanse of jet black that engulfed the town. A canopy of luminous stars materialized amongst the ocean of blackness. Some were dull, merely flickering into existence every now and then, but there was an adequate amount of shimmering stars to illuminate the dark, moonless night. The lake glistened, mirroring the dazzling assemblage of glittering stars and the luminescence from the restaurants and brightly lit houses. The mouth-watering scent of yakisoba from a nearby stall forced his way through his nostrils and delved into his head as he couldn't help but head towards the direction of the stall. Yes, madam, I would like a plate of udon and some fish croquettes, please. Niji smiled courteously at the old stall manager while he fished a few dollars from his wallet. Niji was about to sink his teeth into his scrumptious-looking dinner when he heard a tootaying sound behind him. He spun around to find a figure clad in a dark blue, tight and chainmail-style uniform, with orange underpants on the outside, orange gloves that almost extend to his elbow, orange boots which are folded, and last but not least, his mask, which was half dark blue and orange with the right eye covered and the other eye showing at the orange part. A promethium sword was strapped across his back with two pistols in their holsters on each side. You gave me a hard time finding you. I thought that you would still be hanging around in the dump of a village you call Konoha, but it seemed that you were here on a mission. Naruto mused and advanced towards Niji, who dropped his food and assumed a fighting stance. Who are you and why do you dress like that? Are you part of the Akatsuki? Niji growled as the veins in his forehead began to be visible. Deathstroke gave a cruel laugh and snorted in disgust. Don't associate me with such weaklings. They are nothing but scumbags, waiting to be picked off one by one. As for you, Niji, that's the last meal you're going to eat in this lifetime, Naruto said as he drew his Beretta 92 FS and began firing quick rounds at the ninja. 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven. Niji called out as he began spinning around at a high velocity while being enveloped by a chakra shield. The bullets were easily repelled by the shield and Naruto whistled as he drew his promethium sword and tossed a hand grenade towards Niji. Niji's eyes widened as the grenade detonated its impact, sending him hurling back into a brick wall. Niji crumpled onto the floor and wiped the trickle of blood from his nose. He proceeded to activate his Byakugan, but he was shocked as he could not see the chakra networks on Deathstroke. Naruto did a graceful jump before bringing his sword down towards Niji, who rolled away just in time. Niji sent Naruto reeling with a strong uppercut before a flurry of punches and kicks began raining down on Naruto. Naruto staggered and Neji lined up for another blow to the face, but Naruto caught his fist in his hand and proceeded to slowly crush all the bones in his fist. Neji let out a grunt of pain and tried to wriggle free, but it was futile. You can't beat me with such basic attacks. Let me rephrase that, you piece of shit. Don't ever dream of beating me. I've beaten you when we were kids, but only this time. I'm going to put a bullet through your empty skull, Naruto growled and sent Neji sprawling with a powerful punch to the face. Before I forget, my name is Deathstroke and no hard feelings about this, buddy. But I'm a mercenary and someone paid me to kill you, so I'm just doing my job, Naruto said as he succeeded in making Neji double up again with a roundhouse kick to the gut. Who is this guy? After all those punches and kicks that I inflicted upon him, and yet, there isn't a single scratch on him. Furthermore, he looks as if he's actually having fun. Neji jumped up and threw a few kunais at the anti-hero, but Naruto just chuckled as they impaled his body. Neji's eyes widened and he began to curse. 10 knives in his body and he still looks as if he's taking a stroll in the park, Neji thought as he dodged another blow from his sword. Neji, why don't you just save us the trouble and stop fucking around? Naruto said as he grabbed Neji by the throat and increased the pressure on his throat. Neji squirmed, but it was useless as Naruto hurled him through the wall of a wooden house. Naruto strolled over to the still body of Neji lying among the debris and pulled out his Beretta, aimed at the back of his head and squeezed the trigger. You used to be my friend Neji, but all that changed when you began ostracizing me and boycotting my family. I hope you suffer in hell, Naruto said, but the bleeding body disappeared into a puff of smoke and Naruto's eyes widened. What? A clone? 8 trigrams 64 palms, the real Neji roared as he began striking Naruto relentlessly for 64 times, and the latter couldn't help but feel slightly dizzy. Well, Deathstroke, I hope that you regret for underestimating the power of the Hyuga clan, Neji said calmly before stepping back and moving his arms forward. Gentle fist. Neji uttered as he planted a fist to the mercenary's heart, the sounds of his ribcage cracking and organs splitting echoing through the street as the impact blew Naruto through the food stalls. Neji wiped the sweat from his eyebrow and clutched his sides. His ribs were broken and he had fractured his nose, but he began to hobble back to alert his team. However, the sound of gunshot rang in the night as Neji stumbled forward with Naruto standing triumphantly behind him while brandishing his Beretta. Neji winced in pain as his calf was bleeding profusely from the bullet embedded in his skin. How could you have survived that attack? That should have severed your vital organs and kill you instantly, Neji said through gritted teeth, but Naruto just shook his head and shot his other leg. Neji screamed in pain as Naruto stepped on his stomach and cocked his head to the left. How could I have survived? Well, simply because I'm in a different league than you assholes. Once you guys are depleted of chakra, all you have left is your half-baked hand-to-hand combat, which is pathetic. I hardly broke a sweat in today's battle, and here I was, expecting the great Hyuga prodigy to give me a good workout. Deathstroke feigned disappointment and aimed the barrel of his Beretta at Neji's forehead. I'm surprised that you can't see through my costume with your Byakugan, Neji, Naruto chuckled as Neji squinted at the masked mercenary and his jaw dropped. No way. It cannot be. But Naruto clamped his mouth shut and he hissed. One of these days, you're going to get yourself killed because of that big mouth of yours, Naruto said as he punched Neji across the face once more. Why are you doing this? Why are you dressed like that? Naruto, please answer me, Neji gave a hoarse plea, but Naruto just released his foot from Neji's stomach and turned away. Why, you ask? It's because I have $10 million waiting for me back home, Naruto said and shot Neji in the forehead without looking back. Deathstroke looked at the crowd of villagers surrounding him and they began muttering in fear, but he just ignored them and prepared to head back home. Stop. You murderer. Come back and face me. Lee roared in anger as he ran towards the mercenary at full speed, but Naruto calmly dodged his lightning-quick punch, drew his Beretta and shot him in the thigh. Lee crumpled to the ground and clutched his thigh in pain. Lee. Tenten shouted as she prepared to charge at Deathstroke, but Guy stopped her and slowly looked at Naruto square in the eye with a never-seen-before aura of rage and power. Tenten slowly backed away from Guy, who clenched his fists and called out to him. Konoha will capture you and we will bring you to justice for killing one of our own, Guy said calmly as Tenten wept over Neji's bloody corpse. Deathstroke just looked bored and placed his Beretta back into his holster. I have no time to waste on small fry like you. Your shit village can send an army to capture me if they want to, but I promise you that I'll slaughter each and every last one of them. Normally, I don't kill without getting paid, but I'll make an exception for my fellow villagers. Deathstroke is my name, guy, and don't any of you fools forget that, Naruto said ominously before disappearing into a cloud of smoke. Fellow villagers? How does he know our names? Is he from Konoha as well? I better report this to Tsunade immediately. This new foe of ours must be strong. If he managed to dispatch such an accomplished shinobi like Niji without breaking a sweat, Guy told Tenten, who carried Lee to the hospital while Guy cleaned up the corpse. Deathstroke. But his voice sounds so familiar. Tenten thought to herself. Here is the $10 million that I owe you, Deathstroke, a burly man in a business suit said as he handed over a leather briefcase bulging with notes to the masked mercenary. I hope that the task wasn't too hard for you, the man chuckled as he lit a cigar, but Deathstroke just snorted on the way out. You forget who you're dealing with here, Mr. Goto. I hope that the Gato Company will hire me again to eradicate more of those shinobi scumbags, for they bring such satisfaction to me, Naruto said, but Mr. Goto just waved him away. Don't worry, Deathstroke, you'll get another chance to stick a knife through them again, laughed as Naruto's lip curled in satisfaction. I sure hope I do, Naruto muttered to himself and headed back home. What? Tsunade roared as Guy stoically delivered the mission report to the enraged Hokage. This Deathstroke appears out of nowhere and kills Niji while putting a bullet through Lee's thigh? Guy, if this isn't the sign of revenge, then I don't know what is. But he said that he only killed for money and that someone paid him to kill Niji, Tenten argued, but Guy shushed her. I fear that she may be right. Our new foe may not harbor any ill feelings towards us but was merely carrying out his job. Tsunade, we have to find out the party responsible for hiring him and the reasons for this vendetta before he strikes again, Guy said, and Tsunade agreed. Perhaps we should capture this Deathstroke and interrogate him. Find out everything that is to know about his agenda and the whereabouts of his employer, Tsunade said. Kakashi, I want you to lead Team 3 on this hunt for Deathstroke. Sai and Yamato are away on another mission and Team Guy is in poor shape. Bring him back alive using any means necessary, Tsunade briefed the silver-haired Jonin, who nodded and vanished. Shikamaru, Ino, and Koji. Prepare for tomorrow's mission. We leave at 0700 hours. Remember, this is a S-class mission, so I expect your full cooperation and teamwork, Kakashi told the three Jonin. The three young Jonin saluted and headed back to their own quarters while Kakashi went to console a distraught Hayashi and a depressed Hinata. I can't believe it. Niji is gone for good, muttered Shikamaru as he flopped down on his bed. Ino and Koji looked down at the wooden floor in silence and Ino let out a small sniff. Although I found him irritating and too uptight sometimes, but he was a great friend and an excellent shinobi. He was part of our Chunin gang that grew up together and now, we didn't even get to say goodbye to him. Shikamaru, why would anyone want to kill Niji? He has never been a primary target for any of our enemies. Plus, how could he have been killed so easily? Koji wailed to him, but Shikamaru was already cracking his head trying to piece things together. I'm not sure, but one thing is for sure, and that the killer was out for revenge and probably a very skilled ninja as well. Kakashi told us that this was a S-class mission, so he definitely isn't your average thug or rogue ninja. No, this man is dangerous and we are going to make sure that he gets what he deserves, Shikamaru vowed as he stared outside the window, which reflected his grim expression. At the village of the Hidden Mist. So this is the village of the Hidden Mist? Pretty damn gloomy and depressing if I dare say so myself. But a job is still a job and I have another poor bastard to kill, so I'll make this quick, Deathstroke thought to himself as he crouched on top of the roof of a house. I don't have fond memories of this place, but I guess the only person here I should be worried about is the Mizukage. She is strong, I'll give her that, but when push comes to shove, the guy with the accelerated healing factor always wins, he chuckled to himself and disappeared into a dark alley. Back in Konoha. Alright team, I have news that our target, the mercenary who goes by the name of Deathstroke, was last seen en route to the Land of Waves. I'm guessing that he was probably headed for the Hidden Mist village. Our mission is to capture him alive by using any means necessary. Even if it means going all out in battle, Kakashi briefed his team, who just nodded. That makes sense. We need to interrogate him first before punishing him for his crime. We need to avenge Niji, Kaka-sensei, Ino said determinedly as Shikamaru whispered into Kakashi's ear. I was able to deduce that we have encountered Deathstroke before but as a different person. Judging from Guy's report on how Deathstroke only openly challenged our village and had won the battle without a single scratch on him, I'm guessing that he has encountered either Niji or our forces before. That way, he would be familiar with Niji's fighting style and could possibly harbor a personal vendetta on us, Shikamaru explained and Kakashi nodded. That possibility seems very likely, but we should not jump to conclusions. He may be part of an organization like the Akatsuki. Whatever it is, we are going to stop him cold in his tracks, Kakashi replied. All right. Let's move out. I don't know who the hell you are, but I know damn well that the Gato company sent you after me. I'm sorry that you have to pay for their naive and gullible mistakes because I'm afraid that I will have to kill you now, the target smirked as his henchmen formed a circle around Naruto. These are some of the best bodyguards that money can buy, so don't underestimate them because they can snap your neck like a twig in a matter of seconds. I'll deliver your head to the company as a souvenir, the target said and waved his hand dismissively at his henchmen. Such big talk for such a small and spineless man. The only person that is going to meet his maker today is you, so I advise you to run while you still can because I'm going to clean up the trash soon, Naruto said as he drew his sword. Trash? Who do you think you are, you bastard? We are specially trained bodyguards and we are not scared of some guy in a clown suit, one of the henchmen laughed and he charged at Naruto. Naruto merely drew his sword, did a backflip and split the man in half with a swing of his sword. What a waste of my time. You guys are as weak as children. Naruto taunted them as he drew his Berettas and emptied his magazine on them. The bodyguards dropped dead like flies as a hurricane of bullets blew through them. Stay the fuck away from me, the target screamed in fright as he scrambled away from the bloody carnage, but Naruto just shot him in the leg and strolled up to him. Don't bother begging for your life or telling me some sob story about how you have a family waiting for you at home because I couldn't give a damn, Naruto said coldly and shot the man point blank in his forehead before he even had time to respond. Another easy assignment for $5 million. Sometimes, I think that I'm overpaid, but why do I care? Although I do admit that I'm thirsty for a real fight, Naruto thought to himself as he slipped a fresh magazine into his pistols. Suddenly, Deathstroke jumped into a bright spot as he drew his Berettas once more. Shikamaru, did you really think that technique would work against me? Naruto laughed as he saw Shikamaru's shadow retract back from the bright spot that Naruto was standing in. Damn it, Shikamaru muttered to himself. Deathstroke, we are assigned to take you back to Konoha for interrogation and you are charged with multiple counts of murder, with the death of Niji Hyuga being the most recent. Don't think that you'll be leaving this village without a fight, Kakashi warned the masked vigilante who whistled in amusement. So you're out to seek redemption for your poor friend. You shinobi are so foolish for believing that killing me will bring him back because it won't. Anyway, I'm a professional mercenary and hence, do not kill without getting paid, so wait until my boss confirms you as my next targets. Then, you can think twice about challenging me to a fight, he laughed. Shut up. You know nothing about Niji. What kind of a cold-blooded killer are you? Do you not understand how we feel? Ino raged, but Naruto just tapped his foot impatiently. I do, but I don't care because emotions only get in the way of my job. So Blondie, you should think twice before running into the battlefield with your head up in the clouds because you are likely to die faster, Naruto said and prepared to leave when Shikamaru threw a kunai at the mercenary who easily swatted it aside. I know for certain that you happen to be a shinobi that we have encountered before. Remove your mask and fight us with honor, Shikamaru growled, but Deathstroke glared at him. You know nothing about me, boy, so shut your mouth before you piss me off. Kakashi activated his Sharingan and scrutinized the man in the costume, and he narrowed his eyes. Deathstroke, or should I say Naruto, that's where you disappeared to. A life of crime. I thought I would never see the day. Ex-student or not, you're coming with us back to Konoha, Kakashi continued and drew his kunai, at which Naruto shook his head and advanced towards them. Be on your guard, team. Looks like we hit a nerve. Deathstroke drew his sword and sniffed contemptuously at the four of them. Kakashi, looks like you just pushed my schedule up because now I have to kill you. I can't let anyone else know my secret identity because that would ruin my plans. Plans? What plans? Naruto, we are your friends. We can help you. Koji burst out suddenly. Naruto merely ignored him and brandished his sword at his former sensei who was glaring at him. Correction. You were my friends. Now? You're just the weaklings standing in the way of my job. No hard feelings, but I'm going to enjoy tearing you from limb to limb. Shikamaru staggered as Deathstroke landed another punch to his face, but he answered back with an uppercut to his jaw. It was Naruto's turn to stumble a few steps back, but he quickly regained his composure and sent Shikamaru sprawling with a roundhouse kick to the face. Shikamaru! Ino cried as he lay on the ground motionless. She and Koji were already soundly beaten by the mercenary, but Kakashi wasn't that easy for Deathstroke, for he was an experienced warrior. You can't copy my moves, Kakashi, because I'm basically using weapons and not any jutsu. So that Sharingan of yours is pretty useless now, Naruto said. He swung his staff at the silver-haired Jonin who blocked it with his kunai. I don't rely on my Sharingan to defeat my opponents, Naruto. I rely on the years of training and experience to do it for me, and I don't think that you can beat me in that category. Kakashi growled as he knocked the staff out of Naruto's hand and sent him reeling with a kick to the nose. Naruto silently winced due to the excruciating pain of his broken nose, but Kakashi wasn't done yet as he kneed Naruto in the gut before dealing another massive blow to his face. Naruto swayed for a while, and it was all that Kakashi needed to trap him in a earth dome. Naruto, this is the end of the line for you, Kakashi said before executing his fireball jutsu, which resulted in gargantuan balls of flames crashing upon the wooden dome, burning everything that it could find. Kakashi did it, guys. He took out Deathstroke. Ino shook her teammates who looked in awe at him. I'd expect nothing less from him. After all, he is the legendary man with 1,000 jutsus, Koji said as Shikamaru began to stir from his slumber. Kakashi cautiously walked to the burning circle, but there wasn't any trace of Naruto anywhere. My. You are such an easy person to read, you know that? I hope you have finished your turn because I haven't even started toying with you yet, Naruto said from the top of the roof of a building. Damn. Kakashi thought, and his vision began to blur. The use of his Sharingan for a long period of time drained his chakra and wore him down. His weariness was taking a toll on him, and he knew that he had to finish Naruto off quick. What's wrong, sensei? Your age finally catching up to you? Perhaps you should stop using that eye of yours so much, Deathstroke taunted Kakashi, who gritted his teeth. I don't have a choice. I need my Sharingan to exploit any weakness he has or even predict his next move, but I'm totally worn out now. No, I have to finish him off before he kills the others. Kakashi stole a glance at Shikamaru, who nodded back at him. You're unusually quiet now, Naruto. I thought you just couldn't keep your mouth shut whenever you were in a battle. What happened to all those long-winded speeches about achieving your goal? Kakashi asked Naruto, who drew his sword again. Kakashi planned to stall and distract him before the trio executed the Inoshikacho technique on him. I'm not the man that you knew for 16 years anymore, Kakashi. I don't have time for idle chatter with my victims. I just get the job done as fast as I can without any hesitation, regret or second thoughts. So, get through your thick skull that I'm Deathstroke and not Naruto Uzumaki, your friend. Get up and fight me, you coward. I've been waiting a long time for this, Naruto said as he tapped his sword on the ground. Kakashi slowly got up from his knees and stretched his back. I can't believe that you intend to leave my team out of all the action, he mused as Naruto cursed and spun behind, but they were gone. Where the hell are they hiding, he thought to himself, but Kakashi threw a dozen explosive kunai towards Deathstroke, who swiftly avoided them, but he fell right into Shikamaru's trap. You have got to be kidding me, Naruto groaned as he couldn't move due to Shikamaru's shadow possession technique. Ino performed her mind-body switch technique on Deathstroke, who was caught by surprise. Your mind is so dark and twisted, Naruto. I expected it to be filled with thoughts of ramen, Ino subconsciously told Naruto, who growled and tried to force her out of his mind. Get out of my head, you little tart, Naruto said dangerously, but Ino just smirked. Gladly. Koji, you're up. Ino thought to herself as Koji used the multi-size technique to grow into the size of a skyscraper. So what? You're going to sit on me like some kind of doll. Naruto challenged him, but Koji jumped up and did a full body slam on Deathstroke, the impact of the attack causing massive tremors through the village. Good job, guys. But there is still the icing on the cake, Kakashi said as his Sharingan flashed bright red and he performed multiple hand signs at a rapid pace. Thank goodness, it decided to rain today. Water release, water dragon bullet. Kakashi roared as the puddles of water began to rise and form multiple dragons of great size which proceeded to crash upon the fallen Deathstroke with immense force. Not even he can get up after an attack like that, Kakashi sighed and dropped to his knees again. Kakashi, are you alright? Shikamaru asked as he placed his hand on his team leader's shoulder. Kakashi began breathing heavily and covered his Sharingan again with his headband. I'm fine, Shikamaru. It's just the effect of using the Sharingan for too long. Don't worry about me. Let's just go and apprehend Naruto, Kakashi said as he got up and walked over to the giant crater in the center of the alley. That was a decent attack, I'll give you that, but it was still a pitiful attempt at defeating me, Naruto coughed as he slowly rose from the ground, his armor perforated in several areas and his mask close to splitting in half. You have got to be kidding me. Ino groaned as Naruto stretched his back and clutched his shoulder. Didn't anyone tell you that I have an accelerated healing factor? I guess not. So, basically, you can't ever hope to kill me with such physical attacks because I can regenerate any time I want, and this is not even the best part yet. I can still attack you with maximum capacity because I don't have to rely on chakra anymore, he smirked as he nursed his right shoulder. Looks like you did dislocate my shoulder. That would take quite some time to heal. You guys really dealt me a beating just now. It doesn't matter, I'm ambidextrous so I can easily take you down with just my left hand. What's more, you guys are probably drained of chakra by now, so it makes it all the more easier for me, he said as he drew his beretta. Suddenly, multiple whips of water pierced through his body and he grunted in pain. What? He slowly turned around to see another water dragon looming over him. What are you looking at? He growled before it hit him, knocking him out cold. The four of them turned to the left to find the Mizukage, Mei, and Kojuro standing at the entrance of the alley. Mizukage-san, what are you doing here? Kakashi asked as the red-haired beauty ordered Kojuro to cuff his hands together. I happened to be on my way back from the village square when I discovered the bodies of two dead men dumped behind a bush nearby. Furthermore, I heard the sound of blades clashing behind the store, so I decided to check it out, only to find a team of Konoha's finest ninjas at the mercy of some guy in colorful armor. Hey, mind explaining to me what the hell is going on here, she said menacingly as the three Jonins helped Kakashi up to his feet. I'll explain everything on the way to your office, Kakashi promised as Kojuro prepared to carry the unconscious Deathstroke back to the Mizukage's building. Sorry to inform you that you won't be taking me anywhere, Naruto chuckled as he awoke from unconsciousness and snapped the handcuffs in two. Who are you? What are you doing in my village? Mei thundered at the masked mercenary who rotated his right shoulder and made an approving chuckle. I'm Deathstroke the Terminator, and it will do you good to remember that, Mei. I came here to complete a task and was planning to leave here as soon as possible until Kakashi and his posse were begging for a beating. He laughed condescendingly at her and she boiled with rage at his impudence. How dare you address me like that, you bastard? What kind of task are you talking about? Is it an assassination mission? She growled, but he just ignored her and turned his back on the group. If you excuse me, I'll be heading home for now. All this excitement has worn me out and I am not getting paid to kill you, so I'll let you off the hook this time. But next time, I promise you that will be last time you see the light of day, money or no money involved, Deathstroke warned them. Damn that old hag. Those water whips pierced my vital organs, and even with my regeneration, it still isn't fast enough to heal me completely due to the extensive damage from my previous battle with Kakashi, Naruto thought to himself, but Kojuro drew his twin sword and coughed nervously. If you want to do it the hard way, be my guest. Kojuro, I want him captured alive and brought to me now, she ordered, and the bespectacled swordsman nodded. Shit, thought Naruto as Kojuro molded his swords into two giant hammers and swung it at him. Naruto dodged it, pulled his custom AR-15 from his back and chambered around in the rifle. Naruto took a step back, aimed his scope at Kojuro and began emptying the chambers. Empty shells rained from the rifle as Kojuro had a fairly tough time blocking all the bullets due to Deathstroke's impeccable aiming. What on earth is that man using? He isn't performing any jutsu or using any chakra. I don't think he is a shinobi, Mei told Kakashi, who was half asleep due to chakra exhaustion. As a matter of fact he is. Deathstroke is in fact Naruto. Like it or not, he's our enemy now, Shikamaru answered for Kakashi. Mei's emerald eyes grew as big as dinner plates upon hearing this statement. You can't be serious. Shikamaru. Naruto has been gone for years. Why would he come back as some masked vigilante? Apparently, he's a mercenary now. He killed Niji yesterday because someone paid him to, Ino said sadly, and Koji chimed in. We threw everything we had at him but he still wouldn't stay down until you came along. Kojuro swept Naruto aside with a swing of his sword, but Naruto continued to chamber around in his rifle and began firing at Kojuro again. I'm not that stupid, kid, he said as he launched several grenades using the M203 grenade launcher attached on the top of his AR-15. The impact of the blast was too much to handle for Kojuro and he was sent sprawling on the ground. I'm fed up of this game. You have wasted hours of my precious time and my schedule is fucked up. You pissed the wrong guy today, Naruto finally snapped as he drew his Prometheum sword and advanced towards the dazed Kojuro, who scrambled to his feet and thrust his sword forward. The blade perforated his chest once more, but Naruto merely winced in pain and stabbed Kojuro in the stomach with his blade. Kojuro! Mei screamed, but Kojuro stabbed Naruto in the chest once more with his other sword before the angered mercenary grabbed him by the throat and began crushing his windpipe. Kojuro struggled to break free, but Naruto was much stronger than he was and the iron grip did not loosen. You may be one of the legendary 7 swordsmen of the mist, but I'm still the second deadliest assassin in the world, Naruto whispered as he began choking the life out of Kojuro, whose eyes began to close and head lolling sideways. Get off him! Mei roared as she charged at him, but Deathstroke whipped out his Beretta and aimed it at the side of Kojuro's head. Take one step closer and I'll blow his fucking brains out, Naruto said calmly, and Mei stopped dead in her tracks and grit her teeth. He knew that he wasn't one to fool around and that he had no qualms over squeezing the trigger. Fine. Just don't kill him, she said, and Deathstroke looked triumphantly at her. Now that's more like it. Now, slowly back away from me, he ordered, and she had no choice but to obey him. Good girl. You can have your lackey back now, he said, and he released the barely conscious Kojuro from his chokehold and shoved him towards the group. Kojuro. Speak to me. Are you alright? We need to get him to a hospital before he loses too much blood, Mei told them frantically, and Deathstroke shook his head again. But I never said that I wouldn't kill you, Deathstroke whispered before firing the last of his rounds from his Beretta at the unsuspecting Mizukage. Watch out! Ino screamed, but Deathstroke's smile turned into a frown as he saw the falling body of Kakashi Hatake in front of Mei. How noble of you, Kakashi. I would have preferred if you had died anyway, he said before using the opportunity to escape. Kakashi-senpai. Stay with us. Shikamaru said frantically as Ino tried to heal his wounds, but she still couldn't remove the bullets from his body. Hatake-san, you took those bullets for me. Why? Mei asked him angrily, but he just flashed a weary smile at her. I can't have the hidden mist in political chaos if their leader were to be killed. Better you dead than me. Don't get me wrong. The village would probably go to war with Konoha if you had been killed, since accusations will probably be hurled at us since we were the last one to have been seen with you, Kakashi coughed as he began to pass out due to excessive loss of blood. That would have accelerated Deathstroke's plans. If we were to go to war with the Hidden Mist, it could spark an all-out war between the villages which are alliance with each side. More importantly, he could probably easily catch us off guard after the war and pick us off one by one. No, we can't play into his game, Shikamaru told them as they rushed to the hospital. Naruto staggered back to his house and flopped down on his bed. I haven't been this injured in a long while. I can barely move with so many stabs to my vital organs. It will take me days before I can regain my full health and strength. Damn it, I couldn't kill the Mizukage. Now that she is alive, there will be a nationwide alert about me. Hoop-dee-fucking-do. More bounties on my head and more people after my head, Naruto mumbled as he got out of his armor and lay in his bed. I hope you don't survive, Hatake. You don't deserve to escape death, he mumbled before drifting off to sleep. Kohiro and Kakashi are in critical condition, but they are going to be just fine. Who on earth have you been fighting to have dealt such heavy damage on 2 elite shinobi? The medic asked the trio. Just a really powerful rogue ninja, and don't mind him. He fled the village before we could apprehend him, Ino said, smiling, and Shikamaru kept a stoic expression as another medic attended to his injuries. Ino. Shikamaru. What happened to the Mizukage? Koji whispered. She went back to her office to alert the other nations once more, as well as send a message to Tsunade regarding the incident that took place. Shikamaru replied. A messenger from the Mizukage knocked on the door and let himself in as he pointed at the 3 of them. Shinobi from the Hidden Leaf, the Mizukage requests your presence in her office as soon as possible, for she intends to discuss urgent matters regarding the fugitive. Well, what are we waiting for, guys? Shikamaru drawled and slowly rose from his bed. We were able to retrieve some valuable information connected to Deathstroke when our special operations teams identified his victims as clients of the corrupt Gato company. We have reason to believe that the company probably was the one who has been hiring Deathstroke to do their dirty work for them. I've discussed this with your Hokage, and she has decided that you 3 remain here for the time being and try to locate the Gato company's base of operations, while your sensei recovers, Mei told them. Then what about the search for Naruto? We can't just leave him roaming about. Ino grumbled. We don't really have to worry about him in the meantime. He's probably hiding somewhere to recover, and he wouldn't kill anyone if it didn't involve a profit, Shikamaru replied. I'm sure that Tsunade will send another team to track our target down. Although I'm reluctant to accept your help, but since you 3 know him well, I suppose that we could work together for now, Mei emphasized before dismissing them with a wave of her hand. Geez, talk about arrogant, Koji remarked as Ino shook her head. Guys, the only remaining person on our side that know about the Gato company is Kakashi, but we have to make do without him at the moment, Shikamaru said. I think that we should split up and search the village. That way, we will be able to cover more ground. What if one of us encounters that masked freak again? Do we call each other for backup? Don't take him on yet. Only use force against him if he tries to escape or retaliate. I don't want anybody's death on my conscience for the rest of my life, Shikamaru said darkly, as Asuma's death still haunts him to this very day. We meet back at the motel at 7 sharp. Let's go, team, Shikamaru said as the 3 of them dispersed into different directions. Hours passed and they couldn't come up with anything as they inquired villagers, infiltrated popular night spots, and shadowed some people. Shikamaru glanced at his watch, which read 6:30, and he heaved a heavy sigh. He sat down by the pier to watch the sun set. The few thin strips of clouds on the horizon turned shimmering gold. He narrowed his eyes as he saw a group of men clad in pinstripe suits emerging from a boat at the dock, the villagers avoiding them as they strolled to a warehouse nearby. Nothing screams suspicion like a couple of guys in suits heading to an abandoned warehouse, he thought, and he trailed them. Ino. Koji. Meet me at the abandoned warehouse by the pier just outside the town. I think we have our man. Here it is, Goto, just like you ordered. Before we hand over the marijuana to you, I want my money now, said a sleazy-looking man as Mr. Goto presented him a briefcase inundated with dollar bills. That's a lot of money, boss, exclaimed one of the henchmen as he marveled at the huge sum of money laid out before his eyes. Aren't you going to share some with the rest of us? Shikamaru asked lazily as he stifled a yawn. The drug dealers spun their head in panic at the 3 shinobi and pretended to keep their cool as they did not want to appear threatened. You kids are lucky that my mercenary isn't present at the moment, or he would have delivered your heads on a silver platter to me in the blink of an eye. It doesn't matter now because you 3 are going to be disposed of by my men. We can't let you ruin our underground trading business now, can we? Mr. Goto smirked as his men pounced on the 3 ninjas who soundly beat them despite their injuries. Mr. Goto cursed and drew a bowie knife, which was knocked out of his hands by an Ino kick. Please don't kill me. Or hand me in to the authorities. I'll pay you any amount you desire, groveled, but Shikamaru just took him by the scruff and sat him down on a metal chair. You can keep your filthy money. We want all the information you have about Deathstroke right now. Every single file and document that you have regarding him. What? Who the fuck is this Deathstroke character you keep rambling on about? The only mercenaries that I hire are rogue ninjas, retorted Mr. Goto. Humph. We don't have time to waste, so we will just skip all the threats, Shikamaru said and nodded to Ino, who executed the mind transfer jutsu on Mr. Goto. Such a dark and twisted mind. Ugh. Ino exclaimed to Shikamaru. Anything about our mercenary? More than you will ever know. Ino ended the technique and whispered all the details to Koji and Ino, who nodded and grinned. What the fuck did you just do to me, you little whore? Wait till I get out of here. I will have you slaughtered. Mr. Goto roared as Koji gagged his mouth. Sorry, but he was pissing me off, Koji shrugged. While Koji handed Mr. Goto to the authorities, Shikamaru and Ino rushed to the hospital to divulge all the new information that they had gathered to Kakashi. Kakashi. Shikamaru slowly entered his ward to see their team leader engrossed in his favorite Ika novel. Feeling better, I presume, you old pervert, Ino laughed scornfully and Kakashi laughed nervously before hiding the novel beneath the bedspread. I'm feeling much better now. Where is Koji anyway? He went to deliver, the man who was been purchasing Deathstroke's services to the authorities. We found out how he has been contacting Naruto. He drops off a list of targets at a rendezvous in some forest near Konoha. Every day, Naruto will go to that place to check the mailbox. We can set up an ambush on him now, Shikamaru calmly explained, and Kakashi nodded his head. Send a message back to Tsunade to inform her of this. For the moment, we will just use the time to recover from our injuries properly before he strikes again. Now that we know what he is capable of, we will be prepared the next time. In the forest. I have to quickly find that Uchiha bastard before an army shows up on my doorstep, which I figure will be very soon. My original plan was foiled by Kakashi, that old geezer. Naruto grumbled as he changed the dressing of his wounds. I have to divert everyone's attention away from me somehow, or else I'll be too busy fending them off to find Sasuke. Maybe I can still salvage the situation here. I'll poison Kakashi in the hospital and frame the hidden mist medics, which will eventually lead to much arguments, fabrications, and accusations traded between Tsunade and Mei. Then hopefully, with this framed murder, ties between the two villages and their allies will be cut, and soon, a civil war might break out. It's pretty far-fetched, but it's worth a shot, Naruto said as he stumbled back to his bedroom. A couple of days had passed since his last encounter with the Hidden Leaf Shinobi, and Naruto was ready to take them on again. He groggily rolled out of bed as the bright rays of light shone through the window and onto his face. I wonder if Goto has any new assignments for me? I could sure use another fat paycheck now, Naruto thought to himself as he slipped on a pair of old jeans, a white cotton shirt and a pair of trainers. He had a quick breakfast before heading to his mailbox at the edge of the forest. The sounds of robins chirping were music to his ears, while the cool morning breeze kissed his pale cheeks and ruffled his blonde hair. He strolled towards the wooden mailbox, which was hammered to the side of a tree trunk, and gave a small grin as he placed his hand inside it. Suddenly, Naruto was caught in a huge blast that echoed throughout the forest as the mailbox exploded like 1,000 fireworks and sent the singed mercenary sprawling across the bed of autumn leaves. What the fuck happened? Wheezed Naruto as he gagged on the acrid smell of charred flesh wafting through the air. Naruto's eyes narrowed as a group of Umbu ninjas leapt down from their respective hiding places and encircled him while pointing their swords at him. I didn't think you guys would play dirty like that, but I'm guessing that you guys caught my employer because there is no fucking way that you could have known about the mailbox, said Naruto as he slowly got up from the ground. Naruto Uzumaki, you are placed under arrest for murder and multiple attempts of assassination, homicide, and threatening national security. Do not try to escape because force will be used to subdue and apprehend you. The Hokage wants a few words with you before she gives you your punishment, the squad leader said as he conjured a small flame at the tip of his fingers. Naruto didn't even flinch, nor did he show any reaction as he calmly got up and placed his hands in his pockets before muttering in a low voice. You guys should leave before you get yourself killed. I hate killing people without getting paid, but I also loathe killing a squad of good soldiers whom have so much more to offer for their nation. This is my final warning, Naruto said as the Umbu ninjas exchanged a few glances with each other before nodding their heads. Fugitive, you are in no place to threaten us. We will warn you for the last time. Come with us nicely or we will not hesitate to use force on you. We have been given permission by the Hokage to use any means necessary to bring you back alive, another ninja chimed in, but Naruto just shrugged and turned to walk away. The Umbu ninjas dashed towards him and thrust their swords at him, but Naruto just continued walking as the cold steel perforated his body, giving him the image of a rather big pincushion. What? The leader exclaimed in shock as Naruto just flashed them an evil grin as he seemed unperturbed by the numerous swords sticking out of his body. How can he still be standing? 5 of us just stabbed him in his back, the leader thought to himself as Naruto proceeded to push them away with a roundhouse kick. The Umbu ninjas jumped away from him as he spun around to face them while slowly pulling their swords out of his bleeding body. You know, the most effective way to incapacitate a target is to aim for their legs, but in this case, it doesn't work for me, Naruto grinned as he picked up one of their swords from the ground and inspected the blade. Bastard! Fire style, fireball jutsu, the leader said as he did a few hand signs and belted out multiple furballs towards Naruto, who dodged them easily, but another ninja surprised him from the side and sent him sprawling with a kick to the side of his face. Naruto spat out a wad of blood and charged towards a female Umbu ninja. He swung his sword towards her head, but she parried it away with her kunao and proceeded to slash his side with another kunao. He staggered and she charged at him while he grunted in pain. His ribs were still sore and hadn't fully recovered from his previous fight with Kakashi and his team. She did a few hand signs and crouched. Earth style, Earth Dome, she said as the ground below him suddenly shook and he quickly leapt into the air to avoid being trapped. Another ninja met him while he was midair and aimed a kick towards Naruto, who blocked it with his elbow, but not before another ninja sent him hurtling towards the ground with a kick to his ribs. You guys aren't half bad, but I would expect nothing less from Konoha's elite ninja squad. I think it's time I got serious, because I don't think I would want to spend my Sunday morning out here in the middle of the forest with a bunch of weaklings, Naruto chided as he picked himself off the ground. Naruto advanced towards one of the ninjas and gave a devilish grin at him before charging towards him while brandishing his sword. He swung at the ninja with such great strength that the elite ninja was pushed back a few feet as he struggled to block the shot. Naruto proceeded to quickly drop his sword and stabbed the man's toe. The ninja yelled in pain as Naruto slit his neck with the sword. Okubo, the leader shouted as his comrade's lifeless body fell to the ground. Lightning release, lightning beast, the leader said as his hands started to crackle with a bright blue light as his lightning chakra began to take the shape of a hound. The lightning hound began to run towards Naruto as its claws clashed with his blade, and the hound managed to take a bite out of Naruto's arm as pain seared through his body. Naruto smirked as he analyzed the limitations of the technique. The hound attacked him mercilessly, but Naruto didn't fight back as his sword was made out of steel. Naruto proceeded to charge towards the leader with the hound hot on his heels, but 2 of the ninjas tried to intercept him. Naruto threw a kunao towards a beehive which was situated directly above the shinobi's head, which delicately severed the beehive's roots. The beehive dropped in front of the 2 Umbu ninjas, who were startled as a swarm of bees proceeded to float around the 2 of them and sting them. They yelled in pain as the bees were making their whole body feel numb. One of them did a phoenix flame jutsu and burnt all the bees to a crisp, but as the smoke cleared, the mercenary decapitated their heads within the blink of an eye. Misaki, stop him, the leader barked at the blonde Umbu who flew at him, but Naruto overpowered her with a crushing blow to her head and proceeded to slit her throat as well. So, it's just you and me now. Naruto chuckled as the leader summoned his lightning hound again. If you kill me, rest assured that we have a backup squad on standby. You won't make it out this forest in one piece, he said through gritted his teeth as the lightning hound leapt towards Naruto and swatted him aside. You really should learn to shut up. You're starting to piss me off, Naruto growled as he jumped and started tree hopping with the hound shadowing his movements. Naruto grinned as he started slashing multiple tree branches from the top of the trees. Crap, the leader exclaimed as he had to dodge the raining tree branches, and because of this, his focus of chakra began to weaken and the hound began to flicker. Naruto jumped down from a tree and unsheathed his sword as the leader clapped his hands together and the lightning hound perforated his abdomen with a thrust of its clawed paw. Naruto coughed out blood and dropped to his knees as the lightning hound disappeared. Even with his accelerated regeneration abilities, a deep wound like this needed a long time to heal. I think you've reached your limit, boy, the leader said as he walked towards the bloodied mercenary whose breathing was getting heavier, but Naruto just gave him a crooked smile and slowly sheathed the sword. This match was already over the moment I jumped off that tree branch. Don't try to fool around, kid. You'll be dead if I don't bring you back to the village soon. Barracuda bite. Naruto mumbled softly as he replaced the sword in its scabbard. The leader suddenly froze as blood began to spurt out from his chest all the way up to his neck as the visible red outline of a long sword cut began to show through his blood-soaked uniform. When did you? The leader gasped as his lifeless head lolled to the side. It's a Japanese sword technique where you cut an opponent so fast that by the time they realized it, it's too late. I called it the Barracuda bite because I got the inspiration from a barracuda's subtle movements in killing its prey, Naruto said as he threw the borrowed sword onto the ground and walked back to his house. That fool said that they had dispatched another standby team of Umbu at the perimeter of this forest. I better dispose of them all before they report back to Tsunade. Naruto got dressed in his navy blue and orange suit as he armed himself with his Prometheum sword, berettas, grenades, flashbangs, and a sniper. I think now's a great time to test out my new sniper, Naruto grinned as he wore his mask and trudged towards the edge of the forest. Tenzo and his team are taking pretty long to catch one little runt, an Umbu ninja told his captain, but the red-haired captain just gave a small snort. That little runt killed the heir to the Hyuga clan as well as gravely injured Heitake-san and the Mizukage's bodyguard. However, I think we should move out now because I can't sense any trace of chakra in the forest, the captain said as he signaled his squad to move in. However, the leader suddenly fell off his branch and dropped dead on the ground as a pool of blood began forming around his head. Captain, the other 4 Umbu members shouted as another one dropped dead to the ground. What the fuck is happening now? Where is the assailant? The remaining 3 members began dashing through the trees looking for the culprit. Another crash was heard as another one of their comrades lay dead beneath the forest ground. The 2 remaining members hid behind a tree bark and began breathing vigorously. We have to find some way to draw out the culprit. If we continue scouting the vicinity out in the open, it will be just like shooting fish in a barrel. Deathstroke hummed to himself as he crouched on a tree branch while reloading his sniper. Where the hell did those remaining 2 bastards go? Suddenly, hundreds of clones of the 2 ninjas began dashing towards him and Deathstroke muttered a silent curse as it was impossible for him to snipe all of them. Naruto had a brilliant idea as he stepped out from his hiding place and folded his arms at the clones. We should play a game of tag, Naruto said as the clones dashed towards him, and Naruto smirked and began dashing through each tree while placing an explosive on the bark of every tree he crossed. The clones hounded him, but Naruto did a somersault onto the ground of the forest before pressing the detonator. Multiple explosions shook the entire forest as trees after trees began crashing down on each other, destroying all the clones within seconds. We have to move now, one of the ninjas said frantically as they quickly leapt away from the falling tree, but Naruto spotted them, drew his berettas and put a bullet in each of their heads. TSH. I really do hate fucking up this beautiful forest, but those assholes gave me no choice. Now, it's time I assassinate Kakashi in the hidden mist, Naruto said as he walked towards the ending of the forest. Deathstroke, where do you think you're going now? A sultry voice came from behind him. Naruto drew his sword and spun around, but his eyes widened as he saw a tall, slender, and voluptuous young woman standing behind him with a black wand in her hand. She wore a white, sleeveless button-up blouse with a collar and bow tie beneath a small black tailcoat and a pair of small, high-cut black tights with black fishnet stockings and a black top hat. She also had long black hair and azure eyes. Naruto was mesmerized by her beauty, but he maintained his fighting stance and cocked his head. This woman is sexy as hell, and yet, she looks as if she could beat the hell out of me. She is definitely not from this ninja world. I mean, she is a Caucasian after all, he thought to himself. Deathstroke, Batman wants you back in Gotham because you're the only connection to Black Mask he has at the moment. All his previous assassins have been murdered by him, the young woman told him. Naruto was taken aback as he did not have a nuance of what she had just said. Lady, I have no idea what you are talking about. Who in the world is Batman or Black Mask? More importantly, who are you? Naruto asked dangerously as the young woman gave an incredulous look at him and shook her head in disbelief. Slade, enough of the mind games. I'm here to take you back whether you like it or not, she said calmly as she began uttering some magical chants. No Eggnud Stoer, she said as thick roots began seeping out of the ground and wrapped around both the mercenaries' legs. Naruto cursed as he began slicing the roots with his sword, but vines from the trees started binding his arms together and he growled in protest as he was unable to move. I really have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not Slade Wilson. He died a few months back and I have assumed his position and identity. I'm Naruto Uzumaki and I have no intentions of following you back to Gotham or whatever you called it, he growled as the young woman's blue eyes grew wide and she frowned. She walked over to him and removed his mask. She was shocked to find that Naruto had been telling the truth all along and it wasn't Slade beneath the black and orange mask. Just let me go and I'll be on my way and I will not hesitate to kill you if you get in my way, Naruto warned her, but she just ignored him and heaved a sigh. I came all this way for nothing. Bruce will be fuming when I tell this, the young woman muttered to herself as she turned back to the bored-looking blonde. Look, miss. My name is Zaidana. Naruto, was it? Zaidana inquired Naruto, who nodded his head. Zaidana, if you just unbind me, I'll answer all your questions and we can go our separate ways quickly because I'm in a rush now. Zaidana laughed and gave him a skeptical look. You really expect me to believe you? I'm probably certain that you killed Slade and stole his stuff. I'm pretty sure he would be rolling in his grave if he found out that a runt was abusing his identity. Naruto's eyes flashed fire and he gave her a venomous glare. You would do well to keep your mouth shut because I can slit your throat in a heartbeat once I escape. Slade was like an older brother to me. He trained and passed on everything he knew to me besides the information regarding his own world affairs. I'm honoring the title of Deathstroke by accomplishing my goal while ensuring that everyone gets what they deserve. Zaidana could see the pool of hurt behind his bright blue orbs as she gave him a thoughtful look. If it will make you feel better, you can disarm me, he said flatly as Zaidana smirked at him and snapped her fingers. All his weapons began floating away from his suit and lay beside the magician. She snapped her fingers a second time and the vines which bound Naruto disappeared. Naruto dropped to the ground and looked surprised. I never actually thought that you would accept my offer, Naruto replied as Zaidana eyed his handsome face and smiled. Like in magic, magicians always take risks but know what kind of risks that have a high probability of succeeding. I just had a feeling that you weren't as cold-blooded and malicious as Slade. Naruto wore back his mask and couldn't help but blush. It had been a long time since he had received a compliment from anyone, particularly a woman. Zaidana, I think we should go back to my place in Heart of the Forest to discuss a few things because I have enemies lurking outside this forest and I don't want them knowing some things about me, Naruto said, and Zaidana smirked. So you're inviting me back to your place now? You really should take things slow, she grinned as Naruto couldn't help but smile at her comment. Don't think I'm letting my guard down because you're acting all friendly with me, Zaidana. I still don't trust you, Naruto said solemnly, and Zaidana agreed. But could I have my weapons back now? Nope, you still haven't gained my trust yet, remember, she added playfully as Naruto snorted at her before leading her back to his cottage. Are you always this friendly with deadly assassins? Naruto asked her as she could see that he enjoyed her company. Not always. Just the young and handsome ones, she hummed as Naruto tried not to let this subtle compliment take reign of his emotions. I can see that you've been busy this morning. Is this some kind of daily routine for you or do you just kill anyone who trespasses? She asked as she saw the bloodied corpses of the Umbu ninjas scattered everywhere. They wanted to capture me but I guess I got a little too excited, Naruto said placidly as he opened the front of his door and gestured he to go inside first. Zaidana loved how cozy and rustic the interior of his cottage was as she admired his quaint living room and kitchen. Can I get you anything? He asked gruffly as she made herself comfortable on his couch. I don't mind having an espresso, she told him, but he just looked blank at her and suggested tea instead. She gave him a small pout but reluctantly agreed. Sorry, but I'm Japanese, so I'm not familiar with Western beverages, he said sarcastically from the kitchen as he handed her a cup of green tea. Ah, that explains everything. So, let's get down to business. Later. So, you're a Japanese version of Slade who wants to run your village to the ground because they unjustly accused you of murdering your own wife? That is screwed up, she commented as Naruto rolled his eyes. Yes, and you're a magician from America who aids some superhero organization known as the Justice League and is friends with some scary masked vigilante called Batman who is Slade's enemy? And you were the one who banished Slade here moments before he was about to kill Batman's sidekick. And you came back because Batman needed to interrogate Slade? Naruto asked Zatanna, who nodded. Now that we have cleared our origins up, do you still want me to follow you back to Gotham City? He asked Zatanna, who was slowly sipping her cup of tea. Honestly, you wouldn't be of any use to Batman because you have no knowledge about Black Mask and his modus operandi. So technically, it would be a waste of time to bring you back to America. I think it's time I return to my world now, Naruto. It's been nice talking to you, she laughed as Naruto cracked a small smile and shook her extended gloved hand. I can say the same about you, Zatanna. I know it's not appropriate, but I just want to tell you that you are the most beautiful woman I have ever laid eyes on besides my deceased wife, Sakura. I'm sure your partner is a very lucky man, Naruto told her as Zatanna grew a light shade of pink and wore her hat. Has anyone ever told you how sweet a mouth you have? And I don't have a partner yet, she winked at the mercenary who raised an eyebrow. I find that really hard to believe, Zatanna. But I'm sure that you'll find someone soon. A woman like yourself doesn't stay single for very long, he replied, and she folded her arms. Fine, you can have your weapons back, you charmer, she sighed as she snapped her fingers, much to Naruto's amusement. I meant every single word I said. It's just that I miss having someone around who I could talk to. It's been pretty lonely here, especially if you've been ostracized by the very people who you grew up with, Naruto chuckled as he gave a somber look to her. Zatanna looked sympathetically at him before patting his back. Cheer up, Naruto. Nobody in this world deserves to be alone. You'll manage somehow after all. Who would dare piss of Deathstroke the Terminator? She smiled and he laughed at her. Suddenly, a shuriken smashed through the window and lodged itself in Zatanna's arm. She winced in pain and staggered as Naruto drew his sword and deflected the incoming projectiles. Zatanna. Are you alright? Naruto shouted at the magician, who winced in pain as she slowly removed the shuriken from her shoulder. Yeah, just a little scratch, she replied as Umbu ninjas came barreling through the door and surrounded him. You guys again. Naruto sighed as he drew his berettas and emptied his entire clip into their bodies. Egnasisa talkat niznadnub, she chanted as the Umbu ninjas' uniforms began to turn into binds which wrapped them up like presents. Kill the sorceress, Hokage sorters, the captain informed his teammates, who began to overwhelm the magician. Zatanna was gagged by a ninja as another one prepared to drive his sword trough her. Get your filthy hands off her. Deathstroke roared as he jumped in front of Zatanna as the ninja drove his sword through his chest. Naruto clenched his fists and sent the ninja crashing against the wall with a heavy punch to the face. As the rest of the ninjas did their hand signs and engulfed the mercenary in flames, Naruto calmly pulled out his Uzi and filled the remaining ninjas with silver. Naruto, you're hurt. Why did you take that blow which was meant for me? She frowned as she inspected his wound, but he just brushed her aside and growled. Don't need to thank me because I was just doing what any other normal person would have done. Let's just say that I consider you my ally now, Naruto said as Zatanna didn't like the change in his tone. Ally? Sorry, but I'm one of the good guys, so I don't team up with contracted killers. I was going to thank you, but I guess it would have been a waste of my breath, she huffed as she dusted herself and wore her top hat again. Well, anyway, as a matter of principle, thank you Naruto for saving me back there, but she was cut off as he took her hand and spun her around. She felt the heat rise to her cheeks as she was barely a few centimeters away from him, and he placed his hands on her shoulders and looked her in the eye. Zatanna, I'm sorry for snapping at you back there, but it's just that I wouldn't want the blood of an innocent person on my hands. Those ninjas were after me and not you, so it's my fault that you had to fight them. Plus, I guess that I want to be your friend if that's alright with you. Naruto smiled through his mask and Zatanna seemed to be placated, but she still was unconvinced. I'm touched by your magnanimity, but I wasn't born yesterday. You want something from me, she said, and Naruto chuckled before reloading his berettas. Now that you mention it, I think that I would want to follow you back to your world for a while. I want to get away from this hellhole and maybe pick up a few fighting tips. Look, I'll stay out of trouble and I promise not to disturb you, Naruto said, and Zatanna pursed her lips before rubbing her chin thoughtfully. I don't know, Batman might throw a fit if he found out that I brought back another assassin to Gotham. Look, it will just be for a few days. Nobody needs to know that I'm Deathstroke. I can masquerade as your new flatmate or boyfriend, he grumbled, much to her amusement. I'll also buy you dinner and I'll do your chores if you put up with me too, he said, and Zatanna decided to tease him a bit longer. Are you asking me out on a date, Mr. Mercenary? She cooed as Naruto scoffed indignantly. Don't flatter yourself, magician. It's an offer, not a request. Zatanna frowned and shrugged. If you put it that way, I can decline your request, can't I? She hummed, and Naruto grew purple. He gnashed his teeth and gulped. Fine, fine. Yes, Zatanna, it's a date. We can go anywhere you want. He waved his hand dismissively and Zatanna grinned as she opened up a portal back to her world. I guess if you behave yourself, you won't cause too much trouble while you're with me. And, you have to do all my laundry and clean the flat every day. Naruto smirked as he followed her into the portal back to Gotham City. Don't push your luck. Naruto had to change into casual clothes in a dark alley before he could step out onto the streets of Gotham. The blonde looked in awe at the massive skyscrapers, busy streets, and lively shops, which caused Zatanna to giggle. You really are from the feudal era. Come on, let's get some lunch first. Your treat, right? She winked as Naruto groaned and nodded. Yeah, it is. I hope they have ramen here. Do they have Japanese food here? Yeah, but forget that. I'm bringing you to one of my favorite pizza parlors in Gotham. Get ready to taste a slice of heaven, she said as she hooked her arm with his and walked with him down the streets of Gotham. Naruto groggily stirred as he was awakened by the bright rays of light streaming through the window, coupled with the mouth-watering scent of scrambled eggs and toast. He looked around his simple yet comfortable room and remembered that he was in the heart of Gotham City, notably, in Zatanna's guest room. The blonde gingerly ran his fingers over his abdomen and smiled as his wounds had healed by themselves but still left a palpable scar. As he sat at the edge of the bed, trying to make sense of the events that had happened yesterday, memories regarding his escape from his dimension into Zatanna's world began flooding his mind. It's like waking up after a coma. Everything seems so different than before, he thought to himself as he washed up and got dressed. He slowly opened the door and walked over to the kitchen to find the black-haired enchantress engrossed in the daily newspapers. Her azure eyes looked up from the sports section that she was reading as Naruto stepped into the kitchen. Good morning, Zatanna. Thank you for putting up with me last night. I really appreciate your hospitality, he smiled as she raised an eyebrow and put away her newspaper. Naruto, you can drop the formalities with me now. We are friends after all, remember? Plus, I made you breakfast since I figured that you wouldn't want to go to the store to pick it up, she smiled as she pushed the plate of scrambled eggs, salad and toast towards the starving mercenary who looked delighted. It's scrambled eggs, toast and salad. There is a carton of orange juice in the refrigerator as well. Do you have this back in your world? Unfortunately no, and I must say that this is absolutely delicious. Magic comes in handy when you're hungry, huh? He laughed as she gave him a smirk and whistled. So, it's so good that you think that I conjured it from thin air? I'm a pretty good cook too, you know, she said. You're not half bad on the stove. But it wasn't necessary to cook breakfast for me as well. I don't want to trouble you any further than I have. Look, I'll help you wash the dishes, but his voice trailed off as his eyes were riveted on Zatanna's curious visage. Is something the matter? He asked her, and she gave him another puzzled look. Naruto, I mean it. It's no big deal and you saved my life yesterday. If it will make you feel any better, think of it as my way of returning the favor. Honestly, is it so hard for you to accept that some people genuinely help you because they want to? Courtesy is one thing, but I get the feeling that you don't really mean helping you, Zatanna replied with a small sigh as Naruto felt a pang of compunction in his heart as he didn't mean to hurt her feelings. Growing up in a hostile and cruel environment where everybody ostracized him was a painful experience, and just as he was beginning to feel accepted by his village, the village turned on him and drove him out. Naruto did believe that there were nice people who were always ready to help, but sometimes, he couldn't help but wonder if that would all change if he screwed something up again. He yearned for friends and a new beginning, but he didn't want to go through the whole painful ordeal of heartbreak again. People who helped him usually had an ulterior motive unless they were either Irika or Jiraiya. They were like father figures to him and he could never hate them, but everyone else wanted something from him. Being nice to him was a way of lowering his guard and striking him when he was unaware of it. Zatanna, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings or anything, and I really appreciate your help, but it's just that I'm so used to people going against my back that I can't help but question their motives or actions. I have rarely met anyone who offered a helping hand to me without wanting something, Naruto said as Zatanna still looked slightly offended, but Naruto gave her a small smile and gave her an earnest look. However, I do trust you and I'll try my best to help out with anything that you want. Besides, it's been a long time since a woman did anything nice for me, he said as Zatanna sighed and shook her head. You're really screwed up in the head, you know that? You do remind me of Slade after all. You mercenaries always seem to reject the slightest bit of help that comes your way. Naruto snorted as he got up and began washing the dishes. You wouldn't say that so lightly if you knew what we had gone through. Our dark past has distorted our perception of the world and the people living on it. A longer definition for screwed up, she replied casually as Naruto grit his teeth and shook his head. I'm going out for a walk, try not to get lonely without me, he said brusquely as he dried his hands and grabbed his coat. I'm supposed to keep an eye on you, remember? You can't just go anywhere as you please. We don't need another murderous meta-human on the loose in the city. Plus, Batman will have both our scalps if he finds out, she said impatiently as Naruto flashed her an irritable look. That was part of the agreement we made. You let me stay here and explore the city, and in return, I do all your chores as well as buy you dinner. It would do you well to remember it, sorceress, he said dryly as Zatanna's eyes flashed fire and she said in a low and threatening voice. Watch that mouth of yours, mercenary. I can easily send you back to where you came from or somewhere worse if you decide to cause trouble. Don't think that you're the only one with superpowers here. Naruto raised an eyebrow and folded his arms. I'm not interested in fighting you because I haven't been paid to do so, but don't think that I'll let you violate our deal. I will honor my end of the bargain and I expect you to do the same, he spat as Zatanna clenched her fists and turned away from him. Fine then. If you get caught or killed, I sure as hell won't give a damn about you. I take back everything that I said about you. You're just a stubborn asshole and you can get your own lunch and dinner while you're out in the city, she said as she retreated back to her room. Naruto just rolled his eyes and left her apartment. This wouldn't have happened if she didn't lose her temper in the first place. Naruto walked the busy streets of Gotham as he explored the various shops and ventured into the treacherous alleys where the thugs hung out. He sighed as he remembered that he had not a single dollar to his name and he couldn't buy lunch. Looks like I'll have to beg for forgiveness. It's pathetic, he groaned as he stuffed his hands in the pockets of his jeans and leaned back on a wall. Suddenly, he was approached by a gang of thugs who encircled him and eyed him from head to toe. What the hell do you think you're doing on our turf, pretty boy? Are you with the cops? A burly member asked, but Naruto just looked quizzically at him as she did not understand what a cop was. Cop? What is that? Sorry, but I'm not from around here. I'm just a tourist, so if you excuse me, I'll be on my way. I don't have time to deal with trash like you, he said simply as he turned to walk away, but the thugs started murmuring among themselves and pointed their guns at his head. Well, fuck you, you little piece of shit. We were going to just rob you without killing you, but looks like you just dug yourself a grave. Naruto sighed in annoyance as he didn't want to piss Zatanna off more than he already had. Do as you please, fellows. I don't kill without getting paid, he said as he began walking towards the exit of the alley. Gunshots began ringing in the air as the four thugs each put a bullet in the back of Naruto's head, but to their shock, he was unperturbed. What the fuck, they said as they struggled to contain their shock and fear as they began perforating his body with bullets. Shoot him. Kill that son of a bitch, the leader roared as he began emptying his magazine. Naruto grunted as his body had not fully recovered from his serious injuries yet and the gunshot wounds were difficult to treat. The blonde mercenary spun around and began walking towards them. The thugs dropped their empty guns on the ground and pointed their knives at him. What are you? You better stay the hell away from us. Naruto calmly dodged their flimsy jabs and proceeded to slash all their throats with a spinning blade attack. This is not professional nor is it morally ethical, but I need some money, so forgive me, he said quietly as he began looting the carcasses and dumped them into the dumpster. The police won't be able to trace me since I didn't leave any fingerprints on them, he thought as he wiped the bloodied knife on the jacket of a thug and proceeded to put the knife in his pocket. Naruto began to feel accustomed to the lively city as he spent the whole day feeding the ducks at the local park as well as exploring the shopping malls. To think that I won't be around when all this hits Japan is truly a shame. Who knew that this thing which was called a taco was so delicious, he thought to himself as he took another bite of his beef tacos. I guess I should head back now. Hopefully, Zaydana has cooled off and is ready to apologize, Naruto sighed as he stole a glance from his watch which read 8:30. As he was walking back to her apartment, he paused outside a theater as a giant and brightly lit Las Vegas-style sign illuminated the dark streets of Gotham. He walked over to the theater and cocked his head as the sign read, Zaydana's live magic show. Zaydana didn't tell me that she had her own show. And she didn't even think of inviting me to it tonight. How is she supposed to keep an eye on me when she is out entertaining a bunch of rich fools? Naruto grumbled as he politely stopped a passerby and inquired about the show. Excuse me, but do you know if this magic show is any good? I'm not from around here and I'm looking for some entertainment tonight, Naruto politely asked. The man, who gave him a big smile, clapped his back. Zaydana's magic shows are out of this world. Literally. She does stuff that no other magician can do. I mean, who pulls out a member of the audience out from her hat? You should definitely go and see it, mister, and I promise you that you will be blown away by her. Plus, she is rather gorgeous. The man winked at him and Naruto pretended to look intrigued. I see. Well, thank you for the recommendation and I'll think about it, the blonde replied as he waved goodbye to the man and approached the ticket counter in the theater. I'm sorry, but are you guys still selling tickets for the show? Naruto inquired as the cashier shook her head and smiled apologetically at him. I'm afraid that it's sold out. You should know that Zaydana's shows are always sold out during the weekends. You could buy tickets for tomorrow's show if you would like. Naruto shrugged and took out his wallet, but his eyes narrowed as he read the prices on the notice board. $200 for a ticket? That is extortion. Sorry, but I don't have kind of money with me right now. Maybe I can catch a rerun on cable. Naruto asked as the cashier just apologized to him again. $200? Hell, I only have $50 with me now. I wouldn't pay $200 to see her pull a rabbit out of her hat. I could restock my Beretta's magazines with that cash. Naruto prepared to leave the theater when he spied the janitor emptying the rubbish at the back of the building. He grimaced at the thought of stealing his uniform, but he knew that he would have to wait until she had finished before he could enter her apartment. He was pretty sure that she locked it when she went out. The mercenary dashed into the shadows and crept up on the unsuspecting janitor. Naruto slowly wrapped his arms around the man's mouth and nostrils as he rendered the man unconscious in a matter of minutes due to the lack of oxygen. Naruto stripped him of his uniform and wore it over his t-shirt and jeans. He proceeded to handcuff the unconscious janitor's wrist to a pipe and silently apologized if he had been rough on the portly man. Naruto kept his face well hidden with his cap and started to sweep the floor leading to the theater. He quickly slipped inside the room unnoticed and sat down on the first step of the steps leading down to the seats. Most of the audience looked like well-to-do men and women as they were covered by their extravagant regalia, particularly the women. For my next act, I hope that you don't get cold feet because I'm going to make a snowman out of ice cubes, Zaydana announced with a charming smile as the audience gave her a rousing applause. Naruto just scratched his head and snorted. Now, that's just crazy. Zaydana took off her top hat and emptied it in front of the crowd. She proceeded to pour some ice cubes into it as well as add a carrot, 2 twigs, and 2 pieces of coal. The mixture in the hat was stirred with her wand before she snapped her fingers and revealed the empty top hat to the gobsmacked crowd. Her sapphire eyes crinkled with excitement as she tapped her wand against her hat and proceeded to hold the hat above the stage. A 3-layered snowman with a pair of twigs as hands, 2 eyes made out of coal and a magnificent carrot nose began to slowly slide out of the hat and onto the stage. The audience burst into another round of rapid cheering and applause as even Naruto was pleasantly surprised. Naruto grumbled as he suddenly felt the urge to use the bathroom in the middle of another scintillating display by the magician. He slowly crept outside and walked to the bathroom when he spotted a very tall, slim and alluring woman clinging onto a portly elderly man who was smoking a cigar. This woman had olive skin as well as jade colored eyes and luscious pink lips. Her auburn hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall as she removed the pin from her hairdo. The green dress that she was wearing hugged her body in all the right places, but Naruto's fantasy came to a juddering halt when he spied a gleam of silver underneath the slit of her dress. She is too elegant to be a prostitute, and she does seem too charming to be a mere escort. Could she be planning to murder her date? Naruto thought to himself as the woman and her date left the theater. It's none of my business anyway. There are a lot of screwed up relationships nowadays. Let the old geezer find out that his date is some money-grubbing murderer. Naruto hummed a tune as he entered the bathroom and entered a cubicle. As he was relieving himself, he began to gag uncontrollably as the putrid smell of rotting flesh clawed their way into his nose and pushed their way into his lungs. He held his breath and quickly flushed before exiting the cubicle. He found that the smell was coming from the cubicle next to his. I'm all too familiar with this smell. It's the smell of a dead body, Naruto thought as he tried to open the cubicle, but to no avail. He rattled the door but it would not open. Naruto used his superhuman strength to crack the bolt and the door slowly creaked open. Naruto's blue eyes grew wide in shock as he saw the bloodied corpse of a young, once beautiful red-haired woman who was propped up against the toilet bowl. Her once emerald dress was stained brown with dried blood as Naruto could see the slash marks on her throat. Naruto clenched his fists and grit his teeth in anger. Even though he killed people for a living, but he still had a shred of compassion and humanity in his wretched heart. And the sight that he saw made him apoplectic with rage. He had been brought up to always help those in need, and this was something that he could never forget. This woman had been murdered and left to rot in the bloody men's bathroom. Whoever did this should die a horrible death. I am sure that this young woman did no wrong to deserve such an unpleasant demise. She hasn't been dead for very long. A maximum of 2 to 3 hours since her time of death, Naruto murmured as he inspected her wound. Naruto said a silent prayer for her as he closed the cubicle door and ran out of the bathroom. He leaned against the wall and slowly sank to the floor as he rubbed the temples in his forehead. I'm pretty sure that the culprit is among the audience in that room, but I can't just barge inside and cause a panic. In the confusion, he might escape and that might make things worse. I better find a way to the backstage and warn Zatanna. Maybe she could barricade the room or conjure some truth spell. But one thing I don't understand is why dump the body in the men's bathroom. Naruto was pondering about this when he remembered the blade. He saw the blade strapped onto the woman's thigh. He thought about it harder and then the pieces fell into place. What a coincidence that both of them were wearing the same type of dress and heels. Plus, was there a special reason why that woman decided to leave the theater halfway into the show? Naruto's eyes narrowed as he ran out of the theater and began to ask passerbys whether they had seen the couple. No one gave him a good answer until a street performer exclaimed that he knew who the man was. That man is Mark Bowden, the owner of the Bowden Weapons Manufacturing Company. Word on the street says that he was supposed to sign a deal with an international nuclear power plant owner involving chemical weapons today. That lovely lady with him must have been the representative. Do you know which way they were headed? The street performer adjusted his spectacles before pointing to the road leading to the south of Gotham. Naruto thanked him for his help and placed a $5 bill into the tip box before running down the street. That woman must be up to something big if she is going to assassinate a man of such importance. Wait, I don't even know where the fuck they are. They could be anywhere and in one of these shops, but my guess is probably at his house. The only logical place to carry out a seduction and assassination mission, he continued thinking as he began asking people where Mark lived. Naruto ran as fast as he could towards Mark's heavily fortified mansion, which was crawling with bodyguards. I can scale the wall surrounding the compound and sneak in through the balcony, but that would alert the surveillance cameras. Naruto looked around for another way to enter the compound, but he had limited options. I'm running out of time. I think I'm just going to take my chances. Naruto silently subdued the guards around the perimeter of the wall and began to scale the abnormally high wall, which was even a challenge for the mercenary. Once he had succeeded in doing so, he located the surveillance camera at the front of the mansion and brought out his knife. He threw the knife at the surveillance camera and the sound of glass shattering alerted the guards who began rushing to the source of the sound. Naruto chuckled as the back of the mansion was now free of guards. He quickly slid down the wall, ran to the back of the mansion and began hopping from balcony to balcony until he found Mark's dimly lit room. "Don't you think that we should discuss about the deal now? It is getting pretty late now and I'm sure that your superiors are anxious for your report," Mark panted as his companion just gave him a flirty wink and continued straddling his waist. "Don't worry, Mr. Bowden, because we have all night to discuss about it and much more," she purred seductively as she began undoing the buttons of his shirt. Naruto peered through the balcony door to find that she was undressing him. "Once it's her turn, she is going to kill that bastard. But if I intervene now, I might get apprehended by his guards and she might still kill him in the midst of things," he growled as he stole another glance, but to his horror, the man lay dead on the bedroom floor with foam in his mouth. The woman was wearing her heels and rifling through a stack of documents, but Naruto had seen enough and he crashed through the balcony glass to the surprise of the woman. "All right, assassin, I think you had enough fun for one day, don't you think?" Naruto growled as the woman narrowed her eyes and drew her blade. She began to launch a flurry of strikes and managed to stab him a couple of times. Naruto grunted as his crimson blood began to soak through his shirt. "I don't know how long that you've been spying, but you're going to be dead soon. The tip of my blade is laced with a deadly poison which will spread rapidly throughout your system. If you had been smarter and kept quiet, you might have just lived," she purred as Naruto's head began to spin, but his body was already producing an antidote for the poison as he silently thanked the super soldier serum. Naruto began to rise from the ground and aimed a punch to the back of her head, which she quickly dodged. Naruto was surprised, for he had never seen a person who had such fast reflexes as her. The assassin began to frown as she looked him up and down. "That's not possible. The poison should have severed your nervous system by now, but you seem to still be standing. Tell me, handsome, just what exactly are you?" She looked curiously at Naruto, who clenched his fists and began throwing punches at her. "I'm just a regular guy who wants to know why you murdered that poor innocent woman back at the theater. I couldn't give two fucks about this fat asshole here, but that woman obviously did no wrong," he roared as he finally sent her crashing against the wardrobe with a swift kick to her face. Her auburn wig lay on the ground as he saw long black hair covering her tanned face. The assassin wiped the blood from her nose and gave a small smile. "You're not half bad. Your reflexes are as fast as mine and you obviously are a seasoned combat fighter. Are you affiliated with the Justice League?" she asked him suddenly, but Naruto just gave her an odd look. "No, I'm not. And don't try to change the subject, you slag. You masqueraded as that poor woman after you had killed her in order to assassinate Mark, which you have successfully done. I think that you dumped the body in the men's bathroom to raise suspicions that it was a man who did it instead of a woman, which I find to be ridiculous. I'm not a slag. You can call me Cheshire. I must say that you have quite the eye for details," she purred once more as she adjusted her dress and gave him a small smirk. "Cheshire, huh? Who do your work for? You're obviously an assassin because your little scheme is straight out of an assassin's playbook." "I'm actually a mercenary and my boss wants to keep his identity a secret, but enough about me. Tell me about yourself, because it would be a shame to kill such a handsome stranger without even knowing his name," she laughed as she began to slash Naruto with her blade. Naruto started to breathe heavily as Cheshire gracefully did a somersault and sent him sprawling with a kick to the jaw. "You're pretty good for a scumbag. However, you and I can keep this up all night long, but eventually you'll succumb once I land enough blows to your body. My body is different than yours because," but he was cut off by Cheshire. "Because you have a regeneration or super healing factor. That's the only explanation for why my poison didn't kill you. I've dealt with my fair share of meta-humans in the past and you're obviously one of them, am I right?" she smirked and Naruto was taken aback. Cheshire's smirk grew wider as she knew that she had discovered his secret. "Lucky guess, you scumbag. But I think it's time we call it a night because it's getting late and I'm feeling quite sleepy." Naruto stifled a yawn as Cheshire and him exchanged blocks and blows until she began to run out of steam. Her breathing became heavier and sweat started to trickle down her face, smearing her mascara, but Naruto barely broke a sweat and he pinned her to the wall with a chokehold as he sneered contemptuously at her. "You won't kill me. You don't have the guts to," she challenged him, but his grip around her throat began to tighten as she kneed the blonde in the groin. Naruto howled in pain as he was sent crashing into the television with another kick by the Vietnamese mercenary. I don't have the guts to? Let me make this clear to you that I kill people for a living, just like you, and I have no qualms of slitting a murderer's throat, he said as he slowly brushed the shards of glass away from his bloodied shirt. Oh, so you're a mercenary as well? That's odd because I haven't seen or heard about you before. You look different too. Are you from another country? She looked puzzled as he shrugged. You can say that. I'd love to stay and chat, but my work here is done and I don't think that I'm ready to kill you tonight. It's a shame, but don't worry, I'll make sure that the next time we cross paths, it will your last, she told him with a hint of malice in her voice as she prepared to jump off the balcony. Naruto was determined to finish their fight, but his body began to feel numb due to the amount of poison in his system. It would take a while before it was fully cleared, and this slowed down his reflexes. As he prepared to chase after her, he suddenly remembered why he came to Gotham City. He wanted to seek help take out Sasuke and Konoha since he couldn't do it alone, and it suddenly dawned on him that this woman could be of use to him. Cheshire. Wait for a moment and come back inside because I want to talk to you about something, Naruto called out to the mercenary, who looked genuinely surprised but still adhered to his request. She expected Naruto to ambush her, but he just sat down on the couch and glared at her. What did you want to talk to me about? Didn't you say that you wanted to kill me just a while ago? Why the change of heart? The name is Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto, you're Japanese. How interesting. I don't usually encounter lots of Asian mercenaries in Star City or Gotham City. Well, what do you want to talk about? She purred as Naruto took a deep breath before explaining his current situation while excluding Zatanna's involvement for her safety. Cheshire couldn't help but stare in disbelief at Naruto because his story seemed so far-fetched yet believable. So I'll pay you $2 million if you join my team and kill Sasuke. No payment up front, and the money will be delivered to you once the mission is completed. Are you interested? Cheshire whistled at the astronomical sum of her paycheck and she tapped her chin playfully before sauntering over to the blonde, who took up a fighting stance. She began to massage his shoulders and brushed her lips against his ear, which sent a tingling sensation down his spine. $3 million and you got yourself a deal, Deathstroke, she whispered huskily into his ear before getting up and returning to her seat. Naruto grumbled at her request, but he knew that $3 million was a just price in killing Sasuke and carrying out his orders. Fine, Cheshire. You have a deal, but you mentioned something about Slade wanting to form a new team of supervillains before he vanished. Did he plan on including you? Naruto asked her as Cheshire nodded and sighed. We were quite excited about it, but it never came true once he disappeared. I was hoping to get a glimpse of life under the leadership of the legendary Deathstroke, but you'll do, Naruto. Besides, you are the new Deathstroke, right? She grinned as Naruto merely grunted. Besides, we need more people to join the Titans, maybe 2 others perhaps, she quipped as Naruto gave her a strange look. The Titans? Who said that you could name the team? Since I'm the leader, I should be the one to come up with the name. Slade suggested it since the word meant a lot to him. I'm just saying that it's a cool name, she replied as Naruto softened once he heard her explanation. I guess Titans isn't that bad. The problem is that I need to find more people like you, and I skilled, durable, kills without hesitations, and intelligent. Do you have any suggestions? She thought for a while before shaking her head. Sorry, but haven't the faintest idea. Mr. Bowden? Are you all right, sir? There are intruders in the compound and we are hoping that you could give us our orders, a gruff voice came from outside the door. Shit, it's the guards. They must have found out about me, Naruto cursed as he ran to the balcony, but Cheshire was already waiting for him. I have to report back to my employer and collect my reward, Captain, but feel free to contact me if you wish to discuss further about the team. She winked at him as she handed him a piece of paper with her mobile phone number scrawled on it. Before he could finish his sentence, she had already disappeared and Naruto could hear the guards trying to break down the door. This is going to be a lot of work, he sighed as he jumped off the balcony and escaped the compound. Zatanna was watching the midnight news as she heard a knock on the door. She glanced at the clock, which read 12:30, and she looked through the keyhole to see the waving figure of Naruto. She slowly opened the door and gasped as she took in the bloodied and bruised figure of the young man. Sorry for keeping you waiting, Zatanna, but I kind of ran into some thugs on the way back. I actually thought that you weren't coming back after your little tantrum, she said curtly as she folded her arms, expecting an apology from him. Naruto gave a small smile before reaching out to hold her hand and giving it a small squeeze. Zatanna blushed light pink as Naruto nodded and pulled her into a tight hug. What has gotten into you? She laughed as Naruto buried his head into her hair, taking it the sweet smell of her lavender shampoo. I'm sorry for being such an asshole this morning, Zatanna. I shouldn't have been so rude to you and I know that you're just worried about me. But still, it isn't like you to show such affection in the open. Did something happen while you were out or do you have something to tell me? Hold on, I demand to know why you look as if you got used as a target for boxing class, she said firmly as she pushed him away from her and looked expectantly at her. I guess after a long and rough day, sometimes I can't help but wish for some comfort. It's a long story and I'm dead tired, so can we talk about this tomorrow? Naruto said wearily as Zatanna sighed and pushed him to the shower. If you need any help cleaning your wounds, you can call me, she smiled as she closed the bathroom door and went back to the living room. What she saw on the news stunned her as there was a live report regarding the corpse which was discovered at the theater she had just come back from. A wave of horror struck her as she hoped that Naruto didn't have anything to do with the murder, but it couldn't be ruled out. After all, he shows up back at the apartment with blood-soaked clothes and multiple slashes. That just didn't sit well with the magician. Naruto, she called out as she walked over to his room to find the blonde snoring gently in his bed. Zatanna decided to ask him tomorrow when he was in better condition. She began to yawn as she switched off the television and went back to her own room. It's funny how you can't stop worrying about a stranger that you just met, she murmured before drifting off to sleep. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and reached out for his mobile phone. Zatanna had gotten him one in case he got lost in the city and he needed to contact her. He stared at the row of black digits scrawled on the piece of paper and flopped back down on his bed. So, this is how it begins, me leading a team of supervillains. If that was Slade's original idea, I guess it can't be that bad, he thought to himself as he sent a text saying scumbag. You're in the team, right, to the number. Naruto didn't want to admit it, but he could see his goal being achieved if he assembled a good team to work for him. Sure, he would lose a couple of $1 million, but he could always earn it back by going on more missions. As Naruto prepared to switch off his phone, it vibrated as he received a reply from Cheshire. He opened it and he couldn't help but grin as he read her message, which read, "Of course, DS. Do you miss me already, Captain?" That will be it for today. Thanks for watching.